Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. I'm your host, Josie Way, and tonight with me, co-hosting, is Kathy Costa and Bill Hannon, and our guest is, once again, is Tori McNally, and she's going to take us to Enchanted Egypt tonight. Mm-hmm. She recently went to Egypt and saw many sights, and I would say she's still digesting all that she learned while she was there. Now, when was this trip?
The trip was actually end of October, early November. So it was about 2021. So it was about 2.5 weeks, and 5 nights were spent on a diabea, which is a boat on the Nile. And we'd hop on and hop off to go visit the different temples and tombs. Mm-hmm. It was a trip that was to focus on energy and focusing on opening the heart chakra in particular, and just experiencing all of the different things that Egypt had to offer. So we covered a lot of ground, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've heard sometimes on your hands and knees.
Yes. There was a fair amount of crawling and hands and knees and climbing and good stuff like that. And
but there was one lady with a walker that did the trip.
She did it, and I'm amazed that she actually did it because she had a fused spine and everything. Ooh. Yeah, but she actually wound up climbing up inside the Great Pyramid to the chamber room.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a lot of
ambition,
determination.
For sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, she pretty much was mobile, even with the walker, and just and really enjoyed it. So, but it's a trip that's definitely you definitely do need to be
physically fit.
Physically fit, yeah, because there's a lot. Mm-hmm. So. But there was a lot that we went to. Like I said, we started, I think, in Cairo and wound up going down to Abdos and then going back and forth to Giza, as well as a lot of the other temples like Saqqara, Dendara. I know we went to the quarries out by Aswan.
Yeah, right.
We also went to a village in Aswan. Trying to think of exactly where it was. It was a small cultural village, which is really, really interesting. Nubian village, that's what it was. It was a Nubian village. Yeah, yeah.
Home of the goats.
Not to mention the crocodiles.
I didn't realize they had them in Egypt too.
Well, the dam, the dam that was built in the 70s keeps all the crocodiles.
1970s?
Yes, 1970s.
Oh, okay.
To stop the lands from flooding like they were.
They used to each year.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, that's interesting.
The fertile Nile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was
So when you went to sites, did they tell you about prayers and things, the way things were done in those days?
Sometimes we traveled with an Egyptologist, as well as a couple of handlers for the group. And I was always the one that would go into trance and start with the light language and the channeling and asking a lot of questions with the Egyptologist, what exactly was going on, was there a lot of XYZ going on? He's like, how did you know that? So I was kind of blowing their minds.
You made the tour, very informative.
I did. We also went to the Coptic section of Cairo and went to the Hanging Church, which is built on an old Roman fort. And I actually channeled the church. I channeled Mother Mary.
What makes it a hanging church?
Because the way that it's built, the structure of it is the shape, I guess, it's supposed to be the shape of Noah's Ark. But it's actually, part of it's hanging on this Roman fort, is the way that it's structured.
Okay.
So allegedly the Ark of the Covenant was there at one point in time.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
That's definitely a big deal.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
there's Christian things,
Yeah.
antiquities in these sites also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
that's-
also been documented that Jesus and Mary and Joseph were also hiding there.
Well, they didn't
For a
live that
while.
far from there either.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were tapping into that energy
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
When they were
Chased out of,
chased out
Jerusalem.
of
by
yeah.
Herod.
by
Yep.
Herod,
Right.
it's documented by a few people
Sure.
that they were in Egypt.
Yep.
Okay, so
They
it was the
spent a
younger
few
years.
years
Okay.
there,
Yep.
Right,
and they studied.
right.
There's the Aquarian Gospel tells the whole story.
And so is the Urantia book.
Yeah.
That breaks that down when he became a young man, 13, and he left.
That's
His
what that
mother-
refers to.
And he left and he went to India with a trader and his son, and he got to see Rome and all these places. So it's very interesting.
And learn from anyone who would teach him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know he was very educated. Yeah, he was
right.
very educated.
Yeah, one of the highlights I would say was going to Karnak Temple, actually visiting Sekhmet's chapel there on the Karnak temple site.
Now, tell them who Sekhmet
So
is.
Sekhmet is a lioness goddess. Technically she's a destruction goddess, but she's also viewed as the goddess of healing. And there's thoughts that when the goddess is mad, she is Sekhmet, but when things are good and things are right, she is the goddess Hathor. Who is a cow goddess. So that's how I work with those two goddesses with the healing.
Okay.
So that's certainly something that works out really well. But that was one of my favorite spots. Also going up inside the Great Pyramid, inside the chamber room, we went up there, we did a really amazing meditation. We all took turns climbing into the sarcophagus that's up there, but
That
no
was
one's
my next
supposed to
question,
know.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will, telling you guys.
Yeah. There's pictures.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we all took turns
Yeah.
kind of doing that. And what else?
Well, a quick reference to what you're talking about, the goddess being destroyer and healer. I mean, that's one of the premises of sacred geometry is
Yes.
that there are destroyer shapes that come in and clean out what doesn't need to be there so that the other shapes and colors can come in and foster new health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The theory of in numerology of the number 9, it isn't just the end of things. It clears the way, and it's the beginning of things.
For Genesis, yeah.
It's got both of them in there, the end and the beginning. And that's how the goddesses, like Shiva and how they were understood that they were clearing for the new.
Right. Right. So with Sekhmet being destruction, it was thought that she could either be kind and destroy to clear, or she could end a pandemic. Interesting.
Yes, it is.
But they viewed her as healing, and the idea is because she was such a fierce goddess, you would offer up your issues, your blocks, your whatever needed healing to her as an offering, and that would focus on helping to cure you. So the Egyptian duality goddess healing that I work with, which ties in not only the Sekhem Reiki, but also hopping on with table tipping with Sekhmet, is a way of allowing Sekhmet to step in and also connect with them individually and to help them remove any blockages for mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, the three there, though, huh? Yeah. So I believe you said that you had received a skull from there?
I did. I drove the handlers and the Egyptologists crazy because I'm a complete and total crystal whore, and made them take us to crystal shops. So one of the shops that we went to in Giza, was this small shop, and the guy that was there had this ginormous skull, about yay big, which I brought home in a backpack as a carry-on. Let me just say, Egyptian TSA was not very nice.
Yeah.
The only thing I got out of American TSA is it haunted? Whatever.
There's a lot of that here.
Yeah. So turns out, though, it was the rock itself was picked from the site of Saqqara, which is the Step Pyramid. It's the oldest, it's the first pyramid ever in existence. And they found a lot of remnants of diogranite.
What's diogranite?
It's a type of granite type of rock.
Oh, okay.
And they would use it in the different tombs and temples that are there within that facility.
So it's old. Okay.
It's very old. So this guy that had the shop found it. He was also a tour. He had many hats.
Okay.
But he found it, large piece, and he brought it back to his father and uncle, who were lapidaries, and they actually carved it into a modern crystal skull. So, needless to say, as soon as I got home, it was just like a moth to a flame when I saw it.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't care, I just need to go.
Yeah.
And you need to come with me.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, we were able to connect with him through table tipping, and he told us his name is Hagok, Hagok, and that does connect, interestingly enough, with one of the mosques that's actually in Luxor.
Who's Luxor?
Luxor,
Egypt?
Egypt.
Okay.
Yep. And so he was actually talking a lot about how he's connected to the stars. And that particular pyramid, there is an area facing the sky where it's thought that the god could actually see, Dozier could actually see the stars and be able to go back to the people and go back to the stars.
So Dozier's another god?
Dozier was a pharaoh. Yep.
Okay, pharaoh.
Yep, a
Okay.
pharaoh. But Hagok, the crystal skull, he's definitely interesting, and he definitely is learning a lot. So he's thrilled to be in the United States. We keep him in a bowl full of candy and let people take the candy. So that way he's charging the candy with good energy. And it's interesting. So
Wow, that is quite interesting.
yeah. So he's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Yeah. So is it in relationship in size? Is it about the size of the 13 skulls that they found around the world?
Yeah, I would say it's about the size of a human skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So it must have been expensive then.
Not as much as you'd think.
Oh, no kidding.
Well, that's good because they made it themselves from the crystal, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like it's a true antiquity.
Exactly.
Although the stone itself is.
Exactly.
From
The stone is antique.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
From
and
the
I
formation
also-
of the planet.
Yeah, and I also wound up getting from that particular shop a scarab that was also the same type of material, a remnant that was then carved into a scarab.
What's it? Scarab?
Scarab
The
beetle.
little beetle.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yep.
They
So
worship them.
So the
because of their
the
converting.
underside is very, very smooth, and that's the old side. The rough side, which is the top side, is the side that his father and uncle did the carving on.
Oh.
So that's also interesting that I like to work with as well. I keep that with some of my cards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they worship the beetles because they take dung,
So,
because it's a dung beetle.
It's resurrection.
And yeah, it transform it. What's the word? It's not transform. They take something negative and simple. Transmutate.
Yep.
They transmute it to something higher. Fertilizer.
And beetles were also very, very important to be when they were burying their dead. Like, for example, King Tut, there was actually on his chest a scarab beetle that was made of the Libyan desert glass. So,
So,
Careful. We just had somebody fall over.
so how long? So this was at the 2021 trip as well, though, to
Yes.
get that skull.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's not going to go back to Egypt, but he doesn't want to go back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
he's
really don't
okay
want,
here.
and I don't really want to be going through TSA,
Yeah.
dragging him back. So.
Yeah, so
But
that wouldn't
I'm
be good.
sure there'll be other goodies to
Yeah,
find and pick and
Yeah.
so on.
yeah, I'm sure that you find other stuff as well, though, too.
Yeah. yeah.
So you have one coming up, correct?
I do. I'm actually going to be going back, and I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be going for about 3 weeks this time. So we're going to be going to some of the same sites as last time. We'll be going back to Sakura. We're actually doing a private tour of Sakura, which is also going to include the Stargate.
That's a town?
That's the step pyramid.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
okay.
that's the step pyramid. So we're going to go back there. We're going to go back to Dendera, which I had a lot of great energy from when I was there. We actually were down in the catacombs under the temple, and that's when I was speaking in the light language. So we're going to be able to go back there.
Okay.
We're also doing a private tour of Abdos, like I said, with the Stargate. But a couple places that we've been to before, a couple new places. We're going to go to the red and the white monasteries, which connect with the Coptic Christian side of things, and some other places. So
Why are they red and white?
because of the muds that they use and the
Oh.
materials that they use. But it's thought that Mary Magdalene's papers were found not far from that particular site of those two monasteries because they're built near each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe, though, that Jesus and Mary Magdalene traveled through Egypt, though, to go where it is now southern France, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So in their travels, I believe that's how they did it.
That
though.
was later.
Yeah.
And actually, down the road, in probably a few years, the group that I have been going with, she also offers a trip to traveling, following Mary Magdalene and traveling to France. So that's down the road.
Yeah. You can't do so much at once, though, right?
Exactly. There's such a thing as needing to keep the bank account and keep working.
That's
Yeah,
right,
crazy
that's right.
idea, right?
You mentioned something about the light language.
Yes.
What was that about now? I mean, is this
That's
dealing with
tied
just,
in.
is this dealing with the different colors as well as the,
It
like the
was
geometry, or is it just the colors?
No, it's something new that has been coming through.
It's
It's a language.
it's a complete and utter like language that almost sounds like, well, gibberish, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it's connected with the energetics of the ET energy, and
And it feels very loving.
Okay.
yeah, that was new. I wasn't expecting that. I also wasn't expecting levitating off the floor in the Great Pyramid either. So
How high did you get?
huh?
How
All you
high
have to
did
do
you
is
get?
get a few inches.
I got about, well,
Yeah.
I would say I got my chest. I was almost sitting up, but I was laying down. I just kind of came up. My legs were still on the ground, but
That's an easy way to do exercises.
I know. I'll tell you, it was definitely an ab work. I'm like, what's going on here? But
So
that
how many
was
people did you
interesting.
freak out with that?
Everyone else had their eyes shut and were doing their own
Oh,
thing.
okay, so they didn't know.
They didn't
Okay.
really see that part, but I think if they did, they'd go,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
I did freak out some people. We were actually able to do table tipping on the Diabea on the boat, and I did freak out some of the people on the tour.
Because it was actually moving?
Yeah, because it was moving. So now they want me to do it again, and so I'll be offering that on the boat, and maybe even offering the Sekam Reiki healing too. Yeah.
So that
Tax
way you'll
write-off.
pay for it.
Yeah, really.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, my goodness. So you just keep going and going with all your stuff, though?
I do. I get a lot of. I don't sleep much. I mean, I sleep, but I don't. I wake up very tired. I think I'm off doing a lot of.
Yeah, a lot
planning.
of astral
Yeah.
traveling, yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wake up in the middle of the night planning different things that I just.
Yeah, so you see downloads too when you're sleeping. So if someone wants to get hold of you, though, to ask you questions about this trip,
Yep.
any future or past ones, how can they get hold of you?
So the best way to reach me is through my website, which is avalonenchanted.com. They can reach me on my website, email rather, which is tori@avalonenchanted.com.
Yes, Tori at Avalon.
TORI@avalonenchanted.com.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
One R, one I.
One R and one I, short for Victoria.
Well, Tori's cute.
A lot easier to spell, too.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
as a little kid.
Victoria is a long name for a little kid.
It is, and it was wicked to try and spell.
Oh,
Yeah,
Now, one of the things that you had mentioned earlier in our talking was the women's strength movement, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Sisterhood of Avalon.
Yeah.
There's been a lot, I feel, with women's empowerment
Right.
that has been stepping forward. A lot of people working with, like, for example, Red Tent. I'm sure you've heard of that book. I've actually facilitated a number of Red Tents in the area here as well. So the Sisterhood of Avalon is an Avalonian group that focuses on women's goddess work. And is really about finding yourself. I know we talked a little bit about shadow work in particular, which is very important to Sisterhood of Avalon. Really finding yourself, finding out what we've kind of shoved way down deep inside of us that we maybe not fully addressed, in order to transmute it and turn it into something productive and positive for moving forward. So I do a lot with that. I've actually just entered also seminary for that, so it's a 5-year program. Matter of fact, I have a paper due, so yeah, so we just started with that. We do a lot of quest work with shadow work in particular. And I really enjoy that. I've been with the Sisterhood of Avalon for about 6.5 years. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Right, so just going back to the trip though, there was something about the different, I forget what you called it, but the different gods, goddesses, the temples.
The temples, okay.
Are you going to go back to the same ones again though when you go?
Some of them, yes. So
Okay.
we're going to see different parts of Saqqara, that step pyramid. We're going to go back to Abdos. We're going to go to the Great Pyramids, but not go inside. We're going to see the Sphinx, but we're not going to be able to hang out inside its paws again.
Oh, you were able to
in
last
the
time.
pause.
Yeah. So I found the portal and kind of just stayed right there.
Okay, that's why I'm not going to go inside again. That might be why.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But yeah, we're going to go to some of the same temples, but we're actually doing a different section of the Nile. So we actually went up the Nile last time. This time we're going to go down the Nile. So I think we're actually going to start more along the lines of going to Abdos and kind of going down that way. From what I understand.
Now, is it a really strong current of the Nile?
Not as strong. Well, I mean, yeah, there definitely were boats. In some areas, yes, but in some areas, like when we were swimming, we were okay. But obviously, I wasn't going to go out into the middle of the river either. So
And test that theory, right? Yeah.
Is the water very muddy?
yeah, there's a lot of mud on the bottom. I would say a lot of great rocks, though. If you are a crystal whore like I am, there's a lot of good collecting. Let me tell you, I got a lot of good pieces. So yeah.
Just so long as there weren't any.
Oh no, if there were any, I wouldn't be in the water. Interestingly enough, though, the farmers along the sides of the Nile will put their livestock out on the small islands amongst the river. So when we pulled up on one of the small islands, so we made friends with the donkey out there,
Oh,
which
how
was nice.
Why did they do that?
Good grazing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they move them around so that way they can graze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In ancient times, they learned to have summer grazing and winter grazing. They were, they moved their herds,
Okay.
just like herds would naturally move on their own.
So they still do a lot of that
Yeah.
from back then.
Yeah. One other thing that we're actually going to be doing is taking a side trip to Jordan. So we're going to go to Petra and do the glamping, as it's called.
What's it called? What is it?
Picture Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that red where they go in through the crescent and that big building. We're going to go there. And then we're going to, they have a lot of campsites that are the clear igloos, so you can kind of camp out under the stars. So we're going to do that. So I'm doing this side trip to Jordan as well. I think there's going to be a lot that's going to come out from there too.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much rich history, though, in that part of the world,
Yeah.
especially there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't seem like you're going to be done with this trip that's coming up.
No, and you know, my goal down the road is to actually to be able to start my own travel business to different sacred sites, whether it be here in the U.S. or Canada and Mexico, and then eventually roll that out to more international and do spiritual programming within those different sites.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's great when you can go to a country and you trans information. Roland Comtois has done that. He tranced information about Francis of Assisi. This is the place where such and such happened, and this is a place where such and such happened. Because he got the information, and you could do the same thing.
That's pretty much what I was doing in freaking out the Egyptologist. Especially at one particular temple, because I said there are a lot of people that would come here as more of a celebration, and you know, I could see this over here and that over there. It's like that's exactly what they did. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah, you were just getting your information differently than he did.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So
It's just nice to get that confirmation, though, for sure.
oh, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely makes you feel good. Yeah, definitely makes you feel good.
Now, we're almost at the end of the show again, and so how can people get hold of you if they want to go on find out information about going on trips like this?
Till you get ready to do this.
Well,
Yeah,
by
until
all
then.
means, they're more than welcome to connect with me, and I'm happy to, if they have interest in this particular, I'm happy to direct them to it. But they can reach me on my website, AvalonEnchanted.com. My email address is Tori@AvalonEnchanted.com, Tori,
Okay.
AvalonEnchanted.com.
Okay. Yeah, I have a friend that wound up getting a connection with one of the cruise lines because she loved to cruise.
Yeah.
And she would steer people towards them. So she
Right.
became one of their
Well, like Linda
Cruise counselors.
Hogan, Linda Hogan also used to, work with the shamans down in
Brazil.
Machu
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 Picchu.
Picchu,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
One of the handlers that I'm friendly with, because I've kept the connections with some of the guys that that were our handlers, has connections to Machu Picchu. I'm like, oh, good to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to plan that all out and figure out how that's going to happen.
Following the gods and goddesses, well, mostly goddesses, where they're going.
Yeah. I mean, I know that sometimes might seem a little out of balance, but I feel when it's right, we focus on that, and when we need to keep it in balance, we do. But yeah, that's the big plan down the road.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So there's a lot of connection with Isis there as well, too, in Egypt?
there are a number of
Okay.
different temples to Isis, pretty much all throughout Egypt.
Okay.
We went to a number of them. We did a ceremony actually in one of them.
As in the group?
With the group, yeah. Another one we actually had access to at dawn and watched the sunrise up over the temple, which was
wow.
really amazing.
Yeah.
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 Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was really
This-
pleasant. Thank you.
Thank you. This is very informative and pleasant. Except for the sun, I feel like I've had a little tour. I don't know, except for the sunshine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you speak so highly. It's something that's I'm going to put on a wish list.
You know, it's one of those things where I've always wanted to go, and I've always said, oh, that's way too expensive. I can't do that. And then something just said, no, you need to go, and you need to go now. And then I heard, we're not allowing you to have any more upgrades until you go.
Oh, that's good motivation. It is very good motivation.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to Egypt in the middle of COVID.
Oh, yeah. I can't understand the hesitation with that, though, boy.
Wasn't as bad as you think. Really wasn't as bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they know how to trick us into doing things, though. For good stuff, though, and it's
Yeah.
not bad stuff at all.
Yeah, they made
So.
me retire.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely know
They
when
were
things
right.
for timing. Yeah, yeah. Nothing like divine timing though from the spirit side though, when they tell us to do certain things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
yeah. They made it very clear.
Yeah.
Very clear. I'm like, okay.
That's what.